Live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., you're listening to Impact Showdown with your host, Lee Sanders.
Coming at you, it's an all-new Impact Showdown Radio coming at you right now on blogtalkradio.com and over at our sister website at infinityOneProductions.com. For those of you that's checking us out on Stitcher right now, mad shout out to you. YouTube as well, mad shout out to you all, especially our YouTube subscribers. All right, so it was the final episode of TNA Impact, as now all eyes are set on the 9th annual TNA Turning Point pay-per-view that's going to be coming our way live this Sunday, only on pay-per-view, folks. For those of you that might have missed tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling, we've got your hookup. As always, of course, we'll be having live fan interactions in the later part of the show when we open up those phone lines. If you want to interact with us during the course of tonight's episode, feel free to do so. You can do so right now by hitting us up in our chat room over at Blog Talk Radio. Also, you can interact with us on Twitter at Infinity1Prod, Facebook at Infinity1Productions. All right, so guys, let's go on ahead and let's jump right into it. You know, one of the things that jumped out at me off the break with regards to tonight's Impact Wrestling, hey, they finally got a little bit of designs going on there in the ring. I know that was one of the main things that a lot of you TNA wrestling fans have been complaining about for a couple of years now. Why doesn't TNA kind of put a little bit of jazz around their apron or on their mat from time to time? Well, you all finally got your wish, so to speak. Might have looked a little bit generic, but it's a step going in the right direction. Of course, I'm talking about the whole Spike TV hire a veteran program that they have going on right now, and talk about a really great worthy cause that they're doing right there. For those of you that might not know about that, here's a little bit more information for you. And again, this is Spike TV Hire a Vet program that we had saw plugged in the ring that TNA looks like they're going to be embracing for the next month plus, perhaps. And it goes as follows. You can read this information on the Spike TV website. And I quote, "Spike is committed to helping out our veterans find jobs. We know these men and women are some of the best trained, most dedicated leaders and teammates that this nation has to offer. Hiring them isn't just good for the country, it's good for business. The campaign is dedicated to making sure that message is heard. This website is a place where we hope resources can be found, connections can be made, and futures can be built." And for those of you that aren't really aware of just how significant this is, it seems that almost every day we get somebody from the military services that has served our country. They've done it proud. They've done us justice while we kick back over here and we go about our everyday lives. They are fighting all those ugly battles that we only read about in the papers or see in the movies. And unfortunately, when they come back, for most of them, they don't really get that hero's welcome. They don't really, a lot of them, they don't come back to a job that's waiting for them, and they have a really hard time getting back into everyday society. And it just gets to that point where there's financial hardship, and, you know, nobody that has served in the military deserves to go through that. And so, it's really nice that they have this program that's going on. Of course, if you happen to be at your job and you have some hirings that's going on and you happen to know somebody that might be in the military, or even if you don't know somebody in the military, you just know that your job is hiring, make sure you get in contact with these guys over here at SpikeTV.com/shows/hire-a-vet, or just go to the Spike.com TV website. You'll be able to run into that link that I'm talking about, and you can submit your little links, your job hirings, and, I'm sure it'll go a long way, and it'll greatly be appreciated, especially around this time, too, the holidays. Whew, yeah, everybody needs a little bit of money in their pocket right about now. All right, before we jump into tonight's episode of TNA Wrestling, we definitely want to send a very big special shout-out to those of you in the New Jersey area. Of course, those of you who are still dealing with Hurricane Sandy, you have our thoughts and our prayers with you. In case you might have missed it and or you might be wondering how you might be able to help out those affected by Hurricane Sandy in New Jersey, all you have to do is text Red Cross to 90999. Once again, text Red Cross to 90999, and just $10, that's all. $10 will pop up from your cell phone bill on the next billing cycle. And that $10 will go to Red Cross, and it'll be used to help out the victims of Hurricane Sandy. And, of course, TNA Wrestling, they're jumping in on this as well. You can go purchase a Let's Make an Impact T-shirt from their website over at impactwrestling.com. Shirt costs $20, but check this out. All proceeds is going to be going straight towards those victims affected by the hurricane. So you have two really great options to be able to contribute and make your mark, let your voice be heard during this difficult time for those in the New Jersey area. More power to you, and thank you in advance for those of you that had donated. We know a few of you gave us a shout-out over Twitter, letting us know you had appreciated us giving the kind word out there. And, when something like this happens, something major like this happens, we have to put that word out there. So that's all we're doing. We're just doing our part in making sure that the good word is spread. All right, so with that in mind, let's talk about tonight's TNA Impact Wrestling, as it was the eve before the TNA Turning Point pay-per-view, where one of the major angles that we saw tonight had to do with those damn aces and eights, as I like to call them. What better way to kick off the show than with aces and eights talking with Luke Gallows, or as they're now referring to him as, Doc. Now, we did hear the full translation of that word, and apparently his official title is the Director of Chaos. I don't know about you guys, but that's not exactly what I see when I look at Luke Gallows. I don't care what you call him. You can call him Doc. You can call him Director. I just see Luke Gallows when I look at him. I do not see no Director of Chaos. So let's get that out the way right now. No. It ain't no Doc. Or you know what? Maybe it is Doc. Maybe it's Bugs Bunny. What's up, Doc? Maybe it's that. I don't know. But he's no Director of Chaos in my book. And we see the Bane-like guy from Aces and Eights, as we've been dubbing him all these months, say to Doc that he isn't even a full-fledged member yet in Aces and Eights. He's nothing more than a prospect, and he blew it big time by losing his mask last week, and that at this point he has a week to make things right with the Aces and Eights, as they're going to give their ruling on whether or not Doc will be able to continue to stay in Aces and Eights. In the meantime, Doc had to prove himself tonight, as Brother Devon, oh my brother, testify, had revealed that the TNA General Manager Hulk Hogan has put Devon in a match against Sting and the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. And Devon, he does not want to go into action alone. Who better than Doc? So it's going to be Doc and Devon to take those two guys on. That surprisingly, folks, was not the main event of the night. Just a little spoiler alert right there, but nonetheless, it was a good match that came with some very, very serious consequences. Let's talk about that match between Sting and Kurt Angle versus Doc and Devon. Once again, we saw Devon in action, but I love how this has been playing out almost every single time. Devon has been getting in that ring to have a match. It has not seen a proper conclusion. The match always ends in some type of a controversy as far as no contest, folks. And that was exactly the case tonight with this match. Let's pick it up towards the end of the match. We saw Bully Ray. He tried to come on down the ring. He wanted him a piece of Devon. He wanted to put Devon through a table. He wanted to make good on the promise from the Open Fight Night edition of Impact Wrestling, where he vowed to put Devon through a table. Didn't capitalize on it, but he was looking for it tonight. Devon, once he saw Bully Ray coming, he pretty much just hauled ass. Those two guys, they're now out of the picture. So other Aces and Eights bandmates, they get in the ring and they just start jumping on Kurt Angle. They also come to the aid of Doc, who looked as if he was about to be in some serious trouble by the Stinger. As Stinger looked as if he was about to put him through a table, but that Bane-like character comes in with a little mini hammer, mallet if you will, took it to the head of Sting. Sting is down. There we have Bane, and there we have Doc looking down at Sting. And then we see that physical exchange of words, not verbal, just a physical exchange of words that comes across between Bane and Doc as Bane hands over that little mini mallet to Doc, letting him know, you know what you have to do, don't you? And we see the unthinkable. We see Doc go at the knees with that little mini mallet to Sting. The mallet connects with the knees of Sting. It connects with the hands of Sting. It connects with his chest. It connects with his stomach. It's just connecting all over the place. Most brutal beating we have seen the Icon take since he has been in TNA. And I have been watching very carefully this decorated career of the Stinger, and I've never seen him take a beating quite like this before. And it was such a significant beating. I was actually yelling at the TV. I don't know about you guys. I knew it was pretend, but I'm still yelling at the TV because I'm that hot into the whole moment. I'm saying to myself, of all the times that we have the TNA locker room coming to the aid of each other, every single time those damn Aces and Eights pop up, where are they now? And all the damage was already done to the Stinger. Then we see some of the TNA guys on the roster come out, and those guys, short list too. It was only Chavo, Hernandez, Samoa Joe that came out, but by then, Aces and Eights, job done. They hauled ass. Message sent, and we just see the Stinger. He's there. It's funny because I looked at this beating that Stinger took, and one of the things that had clicked in my head as it all was just settling in, well, so much for Sting. That's it for him for the rest of this calendar year. At this rate, Sting probably won't be back until 2013. Maybe he'll be back around February, maybe March, who knows. But to take a beating like that, I definitely do not expect this guy to be popping up before the year is out. I'd be shocked if Sting popped up before this year's out. But, yeah, way to make an exit there, Sting. That was one of the main highlights of the night right there. Of course, we're not even done talking about Aces and Eights. Oh, no. We got double duty, folks. Joseph Parks of Park, you know. Well, he sat up and he gave a plea, one last heartful plea to Hulk Hogan, imploring him to put him in a match against somebody in aces and eights. And Joseph, he just spoke about the feeling that he had got when he was in the ring, and he knows that he's a lawyer, but he just loves the feeling that he gets being in that ring and competing. And if just for one night only, he wants to be able to get his hands on someone from aces and eights. Hey, he still has a little bit of payback to dish out, folks. Hulk Hogan, he comes out and he tells Parks that he's really not sure about this, and he actually gives him props for being the one to take aces and eights into a new direction now, as he took off the mask of, what's up, Doc? And that's just how I'm just going to start calling him for now. I'm just going to, every time I refer to Doc, that's just how I'm going to do it from now on. And Hogan, he tells Joseph, he says, look, appreciate everything you've done, but you were really lucky last week. There's no telling what could happen if you were to get this match. Bully Ray comes out, of all people. And you know the history that Bully Ray, Joseph Park, they have had over the past few months. We just see the unthinkable right here. We see Bully Ray go to bat for Joseph and say, Hogan, look, I'm imploring you, don't just listen to me, listen to the fans, Hogan. They want Joseph to have this match. Don't shoot him down like you keep shooting me down. Give him what he wants. I believe in him. The TNA fans, they believe in him. Let's make it happen. Well, that was enough convincing for the Hulkster, as Brother went on ahead and he made the match for one night only, just this time. It's going to be Joseph Park at Sunday's Turning Point pay-per-view taking on a aces and eights member. Now, we would later find out that that member that Joseph Park is going to be taking on is none other than, what's up, Doc? So there we have it right there. If you guys are annoyed by that whole Doc thing, I'm sorry, but that's just what I see when I look at him. Take your pick. You can either go with that or you can go with biscuits and gravy. It's really, really hard to take Doc seriously right now. They need to just ditch that name. And let's go with a name that we know and love. Let's go with fucking Luke Gallows. Yeah, Luke Gallows. That is manly enough for me. I like that name. It's not old. It's not broke. Don't fix it. Go with Luke Gallows. That's your winner right there. All right, moving right along, folks. The next match that we had saw. Let's go through the matches that we saw for tonight's Impact Wrestling. It was actually some very brief matches at that. We had saw ODB in a handicap match against Jesse and Tara. Now, ODB, I don't know how she was able to do this, because from what I was seeing in the ring, I mean, it really didn't even look like a match. It looked pretty much like a tag your it kind of deal. Somehow ODB was able to beat Tara, and she did it with a roll-up. Now, post-match, we saw Jesse. He was thinking about attacking ODB, but ODB had looked eyes locked into him in time. Jesse had second thoughts, but we saw Tara come up from behind, and she started attacking ODB, and from there it was just pretty much a numbers game. And post-match, in a backstage segment, we actually saw ODB on a cell phone leaving a very, very peed-off message on Eric Young's voicemail, telling him that he needs to be at Turning Point this Sunday so that they can have a tag match against Tara and her boo. So it looks like the TNA Knockouts title, surprisingly, is not going to be on the line this Sunday. And from what we're able to gather, it doesn't look like the TNA Knockout titles are going to be on the line either. Of course, we'll be making sure we have the most updated card for you guys for this Sunday's Turning Point pay-per-view right before we go off the air, to make sure that we are able to confirm that, as we do have a list of all the matches that you can expect for this Sunday. Other action that we had saw tonight, we had got to see one of the main event matches, which was actually a fantastic match in my honest opinion. we had got to see the team of, and I love this right here, Samoa Joe, Hernandez, and Chavo Guerrero take on Magnus, Christopher Daniels, and Kazarian. That right there, great 3-on-3 tag team match. Can't go wrong right there. I love the fact that we had a tag match that was pretty much wrapping up the matches of the night. Can't remember the last time we had a tag match on TNA almost close out the show. Seems like it's been maybe several months. I'd have to do some thinking and backtrack on that. But that was definitely it right there. Of course, we got to talk about that match that had opened up TNA Impact Wrestling, and that was a strong way to really reel you into tonight's episode, despite not that many matches being on the card, which was Robert Roode versus AJ Styles. And we had the Cowboy James Storm watching as he was scouting out his opponents. As remember, folks, there's going to be that triple threat match coming up between those three guys where the winner will become the new number one contender to face the TNA World Heavyweight Champion at the next pay-per-view. However, whoever the person is that ends up getting pinned or happens to submit, they will not get another TNA until, get this, folks, until Bound for Glory 2013. Talk about a WTF moment right there, folks. So we saw a really great matchup between Bobby Roode and AJ Styles. I love this right here. It was just, for me, watching these two guys get it on, it just felt so fresh. And I know I shouldn't use that word because I know there's been a few other times where we've seen these two men lock it up. But it just felt so refreshing to see this match because it just seemed like, as of late, we just kind of been getting the same kind of feuds there for a bit. This one just was nice to kind of take a little break from the usual Robert Roode, James Storm. Just nice seeing it go into a different direction. Now, we did see the Cowboy James Storm. He looked as if he may have wanted to interfere in the match, but right before he could actually make an impact, we actually saw Robert Roode pick up the win over AJ Styles, and we got to pick it up in a backstage segment where AJ Styles was extremely pissed off at James Storm for scouting out that match, wondering what the hell he was doing out there. Of course, the Cowboy James Storm, he tells AJ Styles, look, you have been the face of TNA for many, many years now, and come this Sunday, that all is going to change. It's time for a new face of this company. So definitely a lot of investment for that triple threat match that's going to be coming our way. I can't wait for that. That's going to be one of my favorite matches to check out of the night. Other than that, folks, match-wise, and I know this may come as a shocker to you guys, match-wise, that was pretty much it. If I am missing any matches, those of you that's in the chat room right now, feel free to let me have it, but that is all the matches. Now, let's talk about TNA Gotchak, as it was time to figure out the fate of one Christian York, who has been wrestling for 16 years. And man, this right here was the moment that we were waiting for. It was a no-brainer for us. We said it over here on Impact Showdown Radio last Thursday night that, or last Thursday, I said that right. We said it last Thursday night that Christian York hands down deserves a TNA contract. It's really not that freaking hard. He deserves it. So we see a little bit of the mentality of Taz, Bruce Pritchard, Al Snow, the TNA Gutcheck judges, as they are convening before they pass their ruling. And we see Taz, he pretty much lets it be known he knows how he's going to vote. His mind is already made up. Of course, Taz wasn't able to be at the Impact Arena last week because he had got affected by Hurricane Sandy, but he did let it be known that he had watched the match in the production truck and he loved what he had saw. So his decision, his mind's made up. Bruce Pritchard, Al Snow, on the other hand, they have a little bit of concern as the question that is raised is, okay, he's been in the wrestling business now for 16 years. He spent a third of that in tag teams where, unfortunately, he has been overshadowed. And the question is asked, why hasn't he broke out yet? What is it that is not having him go to that next level? Well, as it was time for Christian York's fate to be decided, we see Taz, he rules. Hands down, he doesn't even go through a long, drawn-out speech. Taz just, hands down, yes, as far as he's concerned, York has that it factor, yes, for Taz. Bruce Pritchard, he brings up that whole allure, that the whole cloud that is over York right now, the whole 16 years wrestling, tag team division. Why hasn't he gotten over that barrier to really be that breakout star? And simply put, as best as Bruce Pritchard can figure it out, and it was an honest answer what he was able to come up with, nobody gave him a chance. So with that in mind, Bruce Pritchard says yes. And we would later find out that Al Snow's vote was yes as well. So for the first time in TNA Gut Check history, it's a unanimous yes for a contestant as Christian York was awarded TNA Gut Check contract. So congrats to Christian York for winning that TNA contract. And hopefully we can see this guy sooner rather than later. I mean, he just came out of that daggone gate like a bat out of hell. He is ready to go. Let's see him have at it. Honestly, if they're a little bit tied up right now this calendar year, I can kind of understand that. I can kind of see it. Hopefully we can get him early on in 2013, preferably before February, would be a good time to see this guy really make an impact in the company as he's ready to go. I mean, any more time wasted at this point after saying he's the winner to when he finally comes up the main roster full time is just going to be, honestly, a waste of everybody's time, especially his at the age of 35 years old. You need to capitalize on how that guy looks, as he just is a freaking monster. He looks phenomenal physically, and what he can do in the ring, you need to be able to capitalize on that now before too much time goes past. Once again, congratulations to Christian York, Virginia's own. That's right, as he's from the Culpeper, Virginia area. Of course, one of the other eyebrow-raising moments during TNA Impact of the night was the exchange that we had saw between Matt Morgan, Hulk Hogan, Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan feeling ever so confident as he wanted for Hogan to relish and celebrate him being the new TNA X Division champion. Hulkster quickly putting Ryan in his place, letting him know he hasn't even proven himself yet. He hasn't even been on the TNA roster that long, and that he has his work cut out for him this Sunday. That's right, this Sunday it's going to be Joey Ryan, who wants a mustache ride, taking on the whole effing show, Rob Van Dam, for the X Division title. But the real attention comes from Matt Morgan as Hulk Hogan tells Morgan that he has no idea what he's going to be doing this Sunday because Matt Morgan, unfortunately, will not be at ringside during Joey Ryan's match. So much for that ace in the hole, if you will. Well, Matt Morgan, he gets in the face of the Hulkster and says to Terry, you have no idea what you've gotten yourself into. And once again, we see a scared Hulk Hogan that's just rattled at the sight of Matt Morgan. But then once Joey Ryan, Matt Morgan leaves, I know you guys have been noticing this trend. We called it early on before the seeds really started to get planted in there. Looks like Hogan's playing a little bit of mind games with the Hulkster, because as soon as these guys left his office, the Hulkster sits up and says, "Oh, but I do know what I'm getting myself into," and he starts busting out a little laugh to himself. So Hogan's got something big planned for Matt Morgan. Hogan stirring that pot as usual. Of course, we are not done talking about Hulk Hogan. No. Who surprisingly, folks, Hulk Hogan didn't really make that many appearances tonight, which was a good thing. Hulk Hogan actually had rubbed elbows with one Austin Aries, as he told Austin Aries he had until the end of the night to give back the TNA World Heavyweight Championship to Jeff Hardy. No, we're not talking about that ugly belt that Jeff Hardy has. He has that one. We're talking about the actual TNA World Heavyweight Championship belt. Austin Aries not really feeling that right there. Of course, during the series of the night, we saw a few backstage off shots of Austin Aries talking on his cell phone. Very interesting development here. One particular segment, and if you walked away from the TV or whatever, you would have missed it because it was like a 10-second type of deal. We see Austin Aries, he's on his cell phone, and we just so happen to hear a very intimate conversation between Bully Ray and Brooke Hogan. And we hear Bully Ray say to Brooke something along the lines of, what does he want me to do? What do you want me to do? He's your father. I can't take this. And we actually kind of see Bully Ray kind of holding Brooke Hogan's arms, but then when Austin Aries looks, the two quickly back off of each other. And we see Brooke Hogan pretending like she's doing something important on her cell phone. So we have that strong impression there that Bully Ray and Brooke Hogan are perhaps an item. Don't tell Brother Hogan. Ooh, that's not going to look so good right there. Very interesting development right there. I like how that was planted. Looks like we know what's going to be next for Bully Ray in the weeks to come, as the way it looks right now, he's not going to be in the TNA World Heavyweight title picture, but he's got the next best thing that's going to be happening for him right now, which is pissing off Granddaddy Hogan. That right there is going to be an interesting program in itself. I can't wait to see how that turns out. If they do it right, it does have great potential to really, really be good, especially the end result. Payoff will be very big. Other than that, here are your TNA Turning Point matches for this Sunday's pay-per-view, folks. We got the TNA World Heavyweight Championship that will be contested in a ladder match. Jeff Hardy's finest. You know he has a pretty solid record when it comes to those ladder matches. Taking on the amazing man alive, the greatest man alive, the greatest man that ever lived. Give him whatever title you want. Mr. AA Austin Aries. And in our next match, we have Doc, Director of Chaos, taking on Joseph Park. Daniel Kazarian will be taking on Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez for the TNA Tag Titles. Magnus will be taking on Samoa Joe. Ooh, that should be a good match right there, as the television title will be on the line. Joey Ryan will be taking on Rob Van Dam for the X Division title. Jesse and Tara will be taking on ODB and Eric Young. Devon will be in action as he'll be taking on Kurt Angle. Robert Roode will be facing James Storm. Also, AJ Styles in a triple threat match. Remember, number one contender is on the line for this, as they'll get another crack at the TNA World Heavyweight Champion at the next pay-per-view. That's what's at stake right here. Loser whoever gets pinned or submits, they will not get another shot until the 2013 Bound for Glory pay-per-view in October. Ouch. There are all your matches right there. Of course, the RCWR show is going to be covering TNA Turning Point, as we got a solid weekend planned for you guys. We're going to have the TNA Turning Point Call That Match special, which you'll be able to hear this Saturday on blogtalkradio.com. I'll be offering match predictions for Sunday's pay-per-view. Make sure you check that out. It's going to be another great installment for those of you that might be new to our Call That Match series. You'll love it. You'll appreciate it. It'll all lead into the RCWR post-show that's going to be covering the fallout from TNA Turning Point. It's going to be pretty freaking awesome. Of course, for that Turning Point post-show this Sunday, we'll be having live fan reactions as well. All right, so that's pretty much going to do it. We're going to do right now, we're going to take a very brief commercial break, and then when we come right back, we'll dip into just a little bit of TNA wrestling-related news. Not really too many major headlines had jumped out there. Of course, we'll get fan reactions, and then we'll come right back. And once again, we'll remind you guys what all we got planned for this weekend. So hang tight. You're listening to Impact Showdown Radio, coming at you live right now on November 8th, 2012. Do hope you all have been enjoying the show so far, folks. We will be coming right back, folks. Do hang tight.
Tired of those wrestling websites that give you redirects, spyware, weird pop-ups? How about those misleading headlines? Instead of hitting the keyboard in frustration, why not visit InfinityOneProductions.com? Infinity One is the source for wrestling-related news and so much more without all the hassle. Visit InfinityOneProductions.com. Your keyboard will thank you.
Hey guys, Lee Sanders here with the RCWR show, and I'd like to take this time out to tell you about one or two quick apps that I think you should check out when you get a free moment. First app I'd like to recommend to you is the app from Stitcher. Now, Stitcher allows you to be able to play all our episodes of the RCWR show and Impact Showdown on your portable devices, such as an Android phone, Kindle Fire, iPad, you name it, it'll be able to play it. So definitely highly recommend that you check that out. It's available for free in the App Store. Stitcher, new and smart way to play radio. Also, another cool app that I'd like to recommend to you all is a new app that had came out not too long ago from Apple. That's right, Apple has recently come out with a free podcast app. Now, this app is really cool, folks, because after we are done doing our shows, all you have to do is just subscribe to our episodes. And you can do this by downloading this new free podcast app. All you have to do, visit the App Store on your iPhone or iPad and just search podcast. Once the app is downloaded, you can then type in the name of our shows, the RCWR show and Impact Showdown, and you'll be able to subscribe. It's that easy. So you have two cool free apps that you can check out and take all our episodes with you on the go. So get to it already.
And we're back. You're listening to Impact Showdown Radio, coming at you live right now on blogtalkradio.com and over at our sister website at InfinityOneProductions.com. Do thank you all for checking us out on November 8th, 2012, 20 minutes before the 11 o'clock hour on the East Coast over here. All right, so a little bit quiet for TNA wrestling-related news. Not really too much has been happening. I know since last we were on the air, one of the things that had jumped out at me that I'd like to share with you all, just in case you all might not be aware of it, Kurt Angle has recently made a little bit of headlines as he's suing a mobile app developer. That's right. Now, he had took to his Twitter account yesterday, and he said that the We Have Social, Waba Social owner, Wafa Wadena, that's the person's name and all that, he's suing them for failing to make a mobile app that geared towards fitness for Angle by the agreed deadline. Angle claims to have spent, get this, $34,700 on the app. And this is what he had to say on his Twitter account. And this is direct quote from Mr. Kurt Angle. Please listen. Wafa Wadena and Waba Social scammed me for $34,700. He scammed me. I don't want to hurt him. I want my money back. Wafi Wadi was supposed to make a fitness app. He didn't. I spent $35K to do it. Wafa failed by October 24th. I'm suing this scumbag. He's not even finishing that. He goes on to say, I'm suing Waba Social and Weeva Social. Wafa Widi changed the company name. He is from Cali and moved to Denver. He's a crook. I lost money from, and he ends it up by saying, I lost a lot of money from this person. My attorney has civil and criminal charges against him. Kurt Angle, I feel for you. That's one funny-ass story, though. Let me tell you something, Kurt Angle, and I'm not tooting my horn. I'm not trying to make myself sound all, I know this and I know that. But, Kurt Angle, Mr. Angle, sir, you didn't have to spend $35,000 for an app. Brother, you could have just sent me a direct message on Twitter, and I could have made you one for free, man. It's really not that hard to do. I learned how to make it in no time, and, special shout-out for those of you listening. If you want to take me up on that, just let me know what you have in mind, and, I'll let you know if I can make it happen. But that's way too much money for a web app, man. Hell, me and a whole ton of guys know how to do that stuff for free, and, depending on what you want exactly, your average web app can be completed in like a day and a half, 2 days tops. If you're running on 5-hour energy drink, you'll hammer that bad boy out in like 12 hours tops just to make sure you get all the kinks and stuff out the way. Damn, that's hilarious. I think that's always messed up when somebody gets scammed out of money, but just hearing those tweets, that's pretty funny right there. All right, other than that, there really hasn't been too many other headlines that had jumped out there. I know somebody was asking us the other day, when is Velvet Sky coming back? Honestly, I think at this point they're just waiting for the right type of angle to bring her back. One angle I see that is just wide open right now, they could bring her back in to work a program with Tara. I definitely see that happening. But if you go to TNA's website, they did put her profile back on there. So she is back with the company. At least that's what it said, because before her profile wasn't even there, but they put it back. Apparently they worked out some type of deal. She is going to be coming back. It's just all about putting her, in the right place and the right time. So trust me, we all miss her over here. So we can't wait for her to come on back and let those pigeons loose. All right. Other than that, that is pretty much it. Let's go ahead now and let's open up the phone lines. For those of you that want to kick on back and interact with us, you can do so right now. Kick on back, smile and dial, listen for those prompts. Get yourself heard live on the air. You can call us at 646-478-3525. Once again, that's 646-478-3525. Listen for the prompts and get yourself heard live on the air, all right? And while we're waiting for you guys to call on in, I see people that's called into the show. It just doesn't look like nobody want to talk tonight. Let's see if we can get you guys jogging over there a little bit. Come on, somebody call. And while y'all are doing that, I'm going to remind you guys once again what we got coming up this Saturday. We got the RCWR show Call That Match special. It's going to be offering match predictions for Sunday's TNA Turning Point pay-per-view. Make sure you check that out. If you're new to our Call That Match series, you're going to have fun. I give match predictions from a writing, booking standpoint, since I do have that previous experience, and I try to call it right, who I think is going to be victorious at the respective pay-per-view. So far, I've been batting a pretty good average. I can't wait for the year-end review where I tally up just exactly how my win-loss record is looking for these things. It's going to be pretty awesome. One other thing I want to tell you guys before we open up the phone lines, and we're going to start off by going to our good buddy Dave in the Michigan area. We have this little special contest that we're going to be doing. Well, it's not really a contest. It's more of a voting that we're going to be setting up over the weekend, and we're going to need you guys' help because it's going to be the first annual Infinity One Productions Wrestler of the Year. And basically we're going to select 2 wrestlers, one from TNA, and we're going to select one from WWE. And there's going to be a whole lot of really cool categories you'll be able to vote from. You'll be able to vote on worst story angle of the year, best newcomer for each respective company. It's going to be really awesome. Be on the lookout. It's going to begin this weekend. We're going to start opening up a few polls, get you all's votes, and we're going to leave it all open and tally it up in December, where we're going to have 2 year-end review shows, respectively, for WWE and TNA, and the winners will be revealed on those episodes. So more details as it comes, but look out for the polling as it'll be beginning this weekend. All right, let's go to our good buddy Dave in the Michigan area. Dave, you're live, my friend.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good, bro. How you been?
Not too bad. I think Daniel Bryan would have to be Wrestler of the Year because look at his year.
That is one name on the list.
I mean, look at for WrestleMania the night after that. I was like, bam, think about him 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's TNA, sorry about that. But I did want to ask you.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Vince McMahon and Linda McMahon video?
No,
what's going on? It was after she lost and she was giving her concession speech or whatever it's called.
Yeah, now I did see that. Stephanie was there and Shane was there.
The video is funny because you can see Vince, because Vince and Shane are both there. Vince is standing in the crowd.
Yeah.
And she said, I want to thank my husband, and he just looks like he's so mad or something. I guess $90 million. I mean, you can think he had plans for her winning this year.
Oh, man.
And think how huge that would have been for WrestleMania with her as a senator and the WrestleMania is coming there.
Man.
He didn't look too happy at all. I mean,
he probably wants to pull, for those of you that watch the ID channel, he probably wants to pull I almost got away with it on her. Shoot.
Yeah,
I know you lose $90 million on my ass. I'm taking it out on you some way.
Now you see why we're getting all this Attitude Era stuff. Yeah, to get some of that money back. Man, but tonight, it was good tonight. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Did they sell you for the pay-per-view?
I don't know if they sold me for the pay-per-view, but that first match was really good.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just talking about with Velvet Sky, I think maybe they're waiting for Sabin to get healthy, and then you can bring them both back, and I don't know how long this whole thing's going to last with Tara and Jesse.
They are an item, aren't they? I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Sable and Sky, they're an item, right?
Yeah, as far as I know. Last thing I heard they were.
Okay, yeah.
But I was trying to think, who do Tara and Jesse remind me of? They remind me of a former WE tag team. A tag team we would all like to forget.
Mm-hmm.
You remember Billy and Chuck?
God, I loved Billy and Chuck. That was the most underrated damn tag team, man. With Rico, oh yeah.
But that's who they remind me of.
Yeah.
The way they're really feminine, but they should be, I guess. But that's who they remind me. They're both good wrestlers, but just the whole, I guess, the gay angle kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
No pun intended.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. Yeah, no, I do see exactly what you're talking about. They do have those ingredients. Now that you said that, wouldn't it be funny if
So one of those guys is Chuck.
Yeah, it'd be even more funny if we saw Rico, pop up and kind of lend a hand. I gotta pick your brain on this because we actually had made the suggestion on the show last week to TNA Dixie and Impact Wrestling. We went on record. We said, look, don't have the announcers do that awkward changing of the guard in the middle of the show, take a commercial break, then come back with the new tag team, and look what happened tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting really tired of this, whatever his name is, really, too. I mean, JB, I don't really like him that much either.
Yeah.
I hate JB on the gut check thing. It drives me crazy. They don't even need him there, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just should be the 3 judges and the gut check guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who's ever up, I don't think they need that. But one more quick thing, and I'll let you go.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really love to see Austin versus Punk, but not the Austin everyone's thinking about. I want to see Austin Aries and CM Punk. How would you think that match would go?
Austin Aries and CM Punk?
Not Austin and Stone Cold. No, wrong Austin, yeah.
Haven't we, if I'm not mistaken, haven't they locked it up before?
I think back in the day, yes, but I'm talking about right now. Because I think they're both white hot right now.
Oh, my God. You want to talk about if there was ever a time for WWE to do some type of a collaboration with somebody. And, I mean, for real, I was going to save this because this is just a taste of what I'm going to be talking about for the year-end reviews for the respective shows. But just to give you a little insight, I think that the future of wrestling, at least for WWE, they seriously need to go back to branching out to other wrestling promotions. And I think a step might be going in that direction. For anybody that had picked up that CM Punk DVD, you know exactly what I'm talking about, as they were able to show footage from the old wrestling promotion CM Punk was with. I believe it was the IWF. And then when he was doing his stuff in Ring of Honor, just the great collaborative work between IWF, Ring of Honor. That kind of says to me that the future does look kind of bright to do some type of collaborations that could possibly expand more than just using archive footage. And to answer your question, to see a white-hot Austin Aries take on a white-hot CM Punk, man, that would really, you want to talk about a WrestleMania moment, that would be a true hardcore wrestler's, orgasmic dream, I think. I think a lot of people would be sold on that, hands down. Good question right there, Dave. Appreciate that. Yeah, no doubt about that. And, if you guys want to get in, one more call, you got plenty of time. You could do so. Hit us up at 646-478-3525. Once again, that's 646-478-3525. I want to say this, and we're going to end the show on a high note if nobody else is going to call into the show tonight. And we have a ton of people that actually called into the show, but they mainly just want to kick back and listen, and that's cool. We love it when, we get folks that just want to kick back and listen, and we appreciate that, as always, all of you for checking out the show. I just want to keep it real for a second here, and I want to talk about a little incident that had happened earlier in the week. Now, myself, the lovely co-producer Tammy, we've been working really hard to try to look up some people we would like to have come on to the show and guests that we feel would do you guys justice. You know, we don't want you guys to feel a little alienated in a way where, I'm not really down with this person, I don't really like their music, or I don't like what it is they're trying to pitch. You know, we want to try to have it be in a way where, you really are liking them, you're liking their personality, and you like whatever it is that they're bringing to you. And there's a reason why I'm mentioning this, folks, and just bear with me. And it's why I'm mentioning it at the very end, and it's why I didn't mention it at the beginning, because I wanted the beginning to just be dedicated to TNA talk and just close out the show with this. I had got in contact with this person who had saw my ad, and so I had posted an ad online saying how I was looking for guests, and he told me about this guy that he swore is a multi-millionaire, and that this guy's going to be like the next big thing that's going to be happening, how he's living in Florida and how he's a huge wrestling fan. And he took the time out to make these preset questions. And the questions, they were very good, and he told me to check out the guy's music because the guy is a singer. And I said, okay, well, let me check this out. And I got to admit, I did not like the music. The music was a real turnoff. And, I'm thinking of our core audience. I'm thinking of guys like Dave, guys like Homie. Special shout-out to Homie, too. His child had successfully had the transplant, so speedy recovery. And, I'm just kind of thinking about that core audience that we have and what all different type of musics they like and, hearing the feedback. So we're going with what works, and we're saying to ourselves, okay, if we have this guy come on the show, this, without a doubt, it wouldn't work. We really couldn't even talk about music. Then the other thing that had came into mind was, okay, you know what? It's almost the holidays. Really not even thinking about guests right now. I'm not going to be thinking about guests until after Christmas. And the little free time that we do have, we're trying to plug as much as possible the Hurricane Sandy relief efforts, get you all to donate, try to use whatever precious time that we're not talking about wrestling to, talk about some real important stuff. And, the guy, he came back, he was bitter, and I tried to blow him off as best as I could. And, it was kind of funny in retrospect, folks, because it was one of those type of deals where, okay, well, if your client is a up-and-coming multimillionaire or whatever like that, then why are you even reaching out to us to try to have him be on the show? Why aren't you just doing whatever you got to do to get him out there if money is really not an issue? And, it's just one of those things where I kind of look at it and, I think the guy, he knew that we were judging on the guy's music, and he's right. And, I will man up to that. It wasn't myself that had listened to the music. Co-producer Tammy, she also listened to the music. And I want to save you guys the trouble. I mean, the music that we were listening to, it was really bad. I know one of the songs, it was called Bitch Girl, and it was just honestly, it was a really degrading song. I did not like it. If you were to try to ask me what did the music sound like, it sounded like music you would listen to if perhaps you were smoking a boatload of marijuana or you're on an LSD trip. It's kind of got a psychedelic type of, I can't really describe it, but the music was really bad. And, I just couldn't bear with to torture you guys with that. And, I'm one of those type of people who I try to read somebody out, And if there's one thing that I don't really like is somebody handing me a script of what to say, because it feels forced. It feels very robotic. I don't like it. I'm the type of person, and I think you guys can tell when we have guests come onto the show, I love to do all my research on them. I make it be a pet peeve to know everything I can about them so that when they come onto the show, they feel as comfortable as possible, and the questions just come out naturally. It doesn't feel like one is reading off of a paper. And I do want to apologize to this guy and his manager. And I didn't have to do this, but I'm apologizing live on the air. I'm sorry that we could not do business. But the one thing that I care about most, I care about our fans. I care about our listeners. I care about the integrity of the show. And, we're not going to insult them. We're not going to insult us, nor are we going to be made to feel as though we are being bribed or we're being manipulated into accepting something that is a false pretense. And that's all I wanted to say about that. Sorry about that little rant, but I hope you guys appreciate it. I think you guys understand where we're coming from, especially if you've been listening to the show this long enough. Then you definitely know I'm the type of person that if you rub me the wrong way, I'm going to let your ass have it. And this was a case where I needed to let somebody have it. So what better place to do it than on my show? All right. So once again, we got busy weekend that's going to be coming up. TNA Turning Point. It's going to be happening this Sunday. It's going to be a jam-packed weekend for us. As God, we are going to be on one busy schedule. I was looking at it all throughout the rest of this month going into December. I still don't know, just to follow up on the question that Dave had asked Tuesday night, what we're going to be doing in December, because WWE is going to be doing 3 back-to-back WWE shows that's going to be airing Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I don't know. We may do something unprecedented. We may do a post-show immediately after all 3 respective shows, kind of dancing around with it. I'll have my mind made up before the Thanksgiving holiday how we're going to go about that. But in the meantime, all eyes are focused on TNA Turning Point. Do check out the RCWR show this Saturday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern. We're going to give you guys match predictions, get you guys ready for Sunday's pay-per-view. And don't forget, we also got the RCWR post-show that's going to be covering the fallout from the TNA Turning Point. So if you're not able to check out the pay-per-view, have no fear. We're going to have the chat room. It's going to be loaded up. You'll be able to pop on in there. You'll be able to get the results. We'll hook you up on the website as always. And, of course, that post-show, we'll have the live fan reactions. You'll be able to make the judgment for yourself if the pay-per-view was solid enough, maybe convince you to buy it on the replay or check it out on DVD. In the meantime, folks, the talk of wrestling doesn't stop here. No. Be sure to check us out on our website at infinityoneproductions.com for all the latest on wrestling-related news and so much more. Also, be sure to subscribe to us in the iTunes and Zune marketplaces by using the keywords the RCWR show. Mad shout out to our Stitcher family that continues to grow. Special shout out to you guys on Stitcher too. If you like our shows, then be sure to check out those links that we had just gave you guys and interact with us. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you like about the show. Anything that you might want us to include in future episodes. We love hearing feedback from everybody, but especially from our Stitcher family that continues to grow. So mad shout out to you, and mad shout out to our YouTube subscribers that continue to grow as well. And all of you, you know exactly who you are. All right, folks, that's going to do it. I do hope that everybody has a fantastic weekend. And once again, if you haven't donated yet to the Hurricane Sandy Relief Fund, make sure you do so by texting Red Cross to 90999. Once again, text Red Cross to 90999, and $10 will automatically be deducted from your cell phone bill next billing cycle. You can also go to ImpactWrestling.com and buy a Make a Impact T-shirt for $20, where 100% of all proceeds will be going towards the Sandy Hurricane Relief Foundation. So 2 really good ways that you can give back in a big way, as Thanksgiving is just around the corner. I'm sure those victims will appreciate it. Till we hear from you guys this Saturday, I'm, as always, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. You all be safe, and you all be kind to one another, folks. We'll see you this Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Do take care.